every boss from every single mainline Halo game. In Halo 2, the first boss we ever encounter is the heretic leader, Sesa Refumee. A group of Sangheili broke out of the Covenant after learning the truth about the Halo rings and the Prophet's intention. Then the Arbiter is sent on a mission after this heretic group to silence them. The Arbiter is met with a ton of information about the Halo rings. He kind of starts to believe it, but then Sesa Refumee starts shooting at him, and then this is where the boss fight begins. This boss fight is simple, probably the easiest in all of Halo. It doesn't take that much to kill him. All you gotta do is just run around and dodge his plasma rifle rounds. He has dual plasma rifles, and he clones himself. And it's fairly easy to find out which one is which. Just shoot him and see if there's a hologram effect. And if there isn't, then that's him, and you just keep shooting, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I've ever died by this boss fight. It's really, really easy. Who knew that the first boss fight ever in the Halo franchise, you wouldn't be playing as Master Chief? Now, the next boss we're finally playing as Master Chief. You get deployed on a Delta Halo with a bunch of ODSTs. Super badass, mind you. Upon learning that the Prophet of Regret is inside one of these temples, shit, Master Chief ain't wasting no time. Once you walk in the room, you're met with a bunch of honor guards. And these are, oh my god, these are the coolest guys ever in Halo. Hands down, my favorite rank of elites. After sadly killing all of the honor guards that I love, Regret is just kind of floating in this little jetpack chair, and you board him like he's a vehicle. Yeah, it's weird. And then you just start punching him like he's the front of a wraith or something. You could hear his cries echoing through the whole place. Like, I almost feel bad for the guy. This guy's like 90 years old, just getting beat to death in his jetpack chair. But this boss fight is another easy one in Halo, unless you're playing on a harder difficulty. If you're playing on a harder difficulty, this one's going to be pretty challenging because the enemies don't stop spawning. They keep flooding into the room, so you have to run in, get the job done, kill Regret, and get out of there as quick as possible. The last boss fight of Halo 2, we got Tartarus. So we all know Tartarus at this point. He's a big dickhead brute that almost looks like a decaying grandpa if you look at him the right way. But anyways, in the last mission, he's about to activate the ring, so you gotta shut him down. The Arbiter just became homies with Sergeant Johnson and his Scarab, so you blow open the front door, blast your way through there, bang bang, and then there's a little cutscene of the Arbiter trying to reason with him, being like, yo dude, it's all a lie, how do you not understand? And you know, Tartarus, he's got a brick brain, so he just doesn't understand. So he's like, no, we must fight. This is where the boss fight begins. All he does is just jump around and use his gravity hammer. He's just a big old raging baby. That's basically what it is. He's got a shield you gotta shoot through, and then once the shield is down, then you can shoot him. He's just a bullet sponge, so you just gotta keep shooting him. And the arena is actually pretty cool as well. There's like a gravity lift in the middle, so there's plenty of space to maneuver around. I never really feel like I'm gonna die during this fight, just because I'm not alone. Like, there's a couple elites in there to help you out, so it's not like you're doing that by yourself. In Halo 3, this is where it gets a little disappointing. You think they would want to expand on the bosses in Halo 2. They weren't much, but you know, at least they were there. In Halo 3, as you make your way through the game, the only bosses you come across are the Scarabs. It's hard to really classify them as a boss because it's not a character or anything. When you think of bosses in Halo 3, you think of the Scarab. The Scarab is so dynamic. There's so many different ways to take it down, which makes it so interesting and so fun. I remember spending hours and hours with my brother back in the day just messing around with the Scarabs, like jumping on their legs and getting flung into the sky, or just coming up with different ways to take them down. Halo 3 Scarabs, 10 out of 10 mini boss. 343 Guilty Spark learns that Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson are wanting to light the ring that is actively getting constructed. And Spark has a hissy pissy fit about that, and it's like, it'll destroy the ring! That's literally the whole fucking point of it, you dumbass. And then he turns on us, zaps Sergeant Johnson. Nah, we're not taking that. You grab your guns and you start shooting him, and this is the boss fight. It wasn't really that challenging, unless you let yourself get blown off the side by him, but I mean, just don't walk up to him. It's that simple. All you gotta do is just stay back and shoot him with a precision weapon, and then you can walk over and pick up Sergeant Johnson's Spartan laser and use that. Or the best way to cheese this fight is you kill Sergeant Johnson before going in, and then you take his Spartan laser. It has infinite ammo, so all you gotta do is just stay back and hold the shoot button like 4 times, and then boom, that's the boss. In the lore, 343 Guilty Spark is still alive. You didn't even kill him during this boss fight. I can't even believe that. He kills Sergeant Johnson and then is still alive, so it's like Sergeant Johnson died for nothing. 343 Guilty Spark just got away with that. It pisses me off. But yeah, after doing that, you light the ring and get the hell out of there, and that's Halo 3 for ya. In Halo 4, it's even more simpler than Halo 3. The boss in Halo 4 is basically just a Wish.com version of Voldemort from Harry Potter. And he uses like the Force Choke. Like, bro's got so many different abilities from different franchises. It's crazy. But you already know the second you see him in Halo 4 that you're gonna have to fight him eventually. But you don't really fight him. In the final level of Halo 4, he picks Master Chief up and holds him over the void with the Force Choke, shows his ugly ass face again, like, and And I don't even know why he doesn't just drop him right here. It doesn't even make sense. Literally could have ended the whole Halo franchise right here. But then Cortana comes out of the floor somehow and tries saving the day. All of Cortana's holograms like jump all over the Didact, and I don't know what's happening here. He's kind of just stuck. And then Master Chief is hanging off the side, and you got the nuke still. You're like, oh shit, I got the nuke. The laser is killing Earth. I gotta go save everybody. So you hold one button to climb up the side, and that's pretty much it. You hold a button, and then you plant a grenade on him. He tries force choking you again, but then the grenade goes off, and then he goes flying down into the little void. And then you got a little army crawl over to the nuke, take one last look. I don't even know why he takes one last look. And then you click another button to detonate the bomb, and that's it. But yet again, the Didact is still alive. In the lore, just like 343 Guilty Spark, the Didact is still alive, so this fight did nothing. In Halo 5, you got the same boss, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not even 4 times, but 5 times. Yeah, I'm not even joking. You gotta kill the same boss 5 times. So we're just gonna put it this way. The Warden Eternal is a big mean guy that's in cahoots with Cortana, is wanting to kill you, but Cortana like has control over him somehow, so she doesn't let that happen. I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. So if anyone could shed light on that in the comments, please do. But you gotta fight him like a bunch of times, and sometimes you gotta fight him like 3 times at once. And now the gameplay is boring as ever, just like classic Halo 5 gameplay. It's so boring. All you do is just sit in the distance with a precision weapon, because that's all you can do, and just shoot at him. It's just a point and click adventure game, like I'm playing a Flash game in 2009. I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea, even putting 3 of the same boss in the one arena. Basically just like a Destiny boss at this point. He's just a bullet sponge, so you just gotta keep shooting him. And it's not really anything interesting to it, because after you kill him, you gotta fight him again. So killing him does nothing. So yeah, Halo 5's bosses are just super underwhelming and repetitive. Not fun at all. 0 out of 10 pieces of bread. In Halo Infinite, it's a completely different story. I feel like Halo Infinite's bosses are by far the best bosses in the franchise. But if we were talking about like a Halo 3 Scarab as a boss, then no. But as like character bosses, I feel like they're the best. At least the most enjoyable, because Halo Infinite's villains don't really have much depth to them. They're not really fleshed out that much. Whereas in older Halo games, they're a lot more fleshed out, and they actually pose a threat. Whereas in Halo Infinite, they just talk to you through holograms until you end up facing them. But in the level of enjoyment, I feel like Halo Infinite takes the cake. The first boss you encounter in Halo Infinite is Tremonius, and he's basically just a big old brute baddie that's in your way you gotta kill. He's even got an outpost named after him. How nice. He comes down the elevator shouting some nonsense like, "Whoa!" He's got a Hydra launcher, and if you're not careful, he'll kill you pretty quickly. And he's a jetpack brute as well, so he can jetpack over things and fly around the arena. So yeah, for a first boss in Halo Infinite, it's actually pretty challenging. You got a shield you gotta take down, and once you take down the shield, it's pretty simple and self-explanatory from there. But there's weapons all around the arena, so you don't really gotta worry about there being no weapons. And there's also fusion coils as well. So with all those combined, it's pretty simple. Now the next boss you fight in Halo Infinite is a badass elite named Chak Lok. After climbing his tower, which is like this really dark and dreary place with a bunch of banished, you reach the top, which is where the boss fight takes place at. He's got the slenderness of a Halo 2 elite with the look of a general from Halo Reach. And this boss is really interesting. He goes invisible and surprises you at every turn. You never know where he's going to be at next. So the best tip for this one is just to keep throwing the shock coils, because it'll electrocute him and show where he's at. That was honestly how I got through this boss, even on Legendary. But one of my favorites, you know, just because he's an elite. And you know, elites are badass. The next boss is probably one of the coolest brutes I've ever seen in Halo. He's a war-torn veteran brute, so he's pretty old. You can see he's pretty old just by the way he chugs the gravity hammer around. He's been through the thick and thin. He's not afraid to fight you. It takes you a couple tries, not even gonna lie. He's very quick, so you have to always be on the run from him. Your best friends in this boss fight are going to be shock weapons and shock grenades, because it'll keep him in one place, and then you can melt him with a sentinel beam or any other gun that you have. Pretty difficult at first, but once you learn the tricks of it, it becomes very easy. On the level the Spire is where the next boss is at, and this is a monitor, Adjutant Resolution. He was created by Despondent Pyre to be a sub-monitor of Zeta Halo. After Despondent Pyre was destroyed, Adjutant Resolution started getting pissed off at Master Chief after learning about his plan to disable the Spires. The boss fight starts pretty quickly. He goes into a massive sentinel shell. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is shoot the 4 arm lights, and once you shoot one of them, then he'll be damaged, and then you can shoot him in the face. And then once you shoot him in the face, it'll take down more of his health, and then you just gotta repeat this process until all his arms are gone, and then you're able to blow him up from there. And the next Spartan killers you face in the campaign are Hyperius and Tovarus. Unfortunately, this boss fight is so underwhelming. You barely hear anything about these brutes or know anything about them in the storyline. Yet he's wearing Spartan Locke's helmet on his shoulder. It just sucks. I wish they further elaborated it, because this could have been one of the best bosses if I knew who I was killing. But since there was no impact behind the character, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. There were just more brutes I had to kill. But as far as the actual fight goes and the gameplay, this is one of the more challenging fights of the game. One of them is in a chopper. So as the chopper is doing laps around trying to kill you, you have the other one in the middle shooting you with the Ravager. But good thing you have all the wreckage around, so you have a lot of cover and a lot of ways to get around. And with the grapple hook, it makes it a lot easier. What I recommend doing for this fight on the legendary playthrough is to hijack the chopper and then splatter the other brute. That was the easiest way I got through this fight. But overall, this fight is one of the more interesting ones, just because there's two of them, and one of them's in a vehicle. The Monitor Adjutant Resolution isn't done yet. He's back yet again to get whooped yet again. And this time he's gold, so he thinks he's all of that, but he's not really. He's just basically himself again, but more aggressive. He's a little more fast. Once he gets aggravated, he'll start getting really pissed off and start shooting really fast. And there's also sentinels around the arena, so you gotta look out for those too. There's a lot of hex pillars scattered around, so you have a lot of cover. There's not too much to worry about. But I've always liked the idea of a big sentinel boss fight. It's a really cool concept, and that's what makes Adjutant Resolution actually a pretty good boss fight. I honestly wasn't expecting him to return. I mean, I clearly saw his ass blow up right in front of me, but whatever. Next up, we got probably the coolest Spartan killer, Jega Rdomnai. Jega Rdomnai. Okay, I can't pronounce this, man. This elite plays on your fear. He doesn't show himself almost the whole fight. He comes out of nowhere. The cutscene leading up to the fight perfectly sets the stage. He's so badass with his dual blades. When it comes to the boss fight, you're in a 2-story UNSC base in the House of Reckoning, and he's invisible, but it's not really that scary because you got the threat sensor, so you can just shoot one down and you'll be able to find out where he is. But he's fairly quick. He'll use the energy sword and do a spin attack on you, which is really deadly. So you gotta learn to be fast in this boss fight, but once you master that, it's a piece of cake. I just wish there was more to this fight because he was one of the coolest characters in Halo Infinite. Since he goes invisible right at the end of his fight, I hope he's not dead, honestly. I hope he returns in some way. It would be such a shame if they were to throw away such a cool character like that. Next up, we got Escharum. We saw this coming from a mile away. The pilot was in the restraints as a lure for Master Chief. Escharum shows himself, and this is where the boss fight begins. Escharum is just the big brute baddie of the game underneath Atriox. He's like Atriox's second-hand man, basically his bitch. But he's been taunting you and harassing you through holograms the whole game, so to kick his ass after all this time felt great. But the boss fight is pretty simple. Escharam's in a shield, and in order to get him out of the shield, you got to go around the arena and destroy these power relays. And once you destroy the power relays, then you're able to shoot him. At this point, it's just a classic old boss fight. And he's pretty slow too. He just kind of jogs around the arena. But once he gets low on health, he pulls out his gravity hammer and starts just going rampant. But all you gotta do is just use your grapple hook, get away from him, get some distance, and then turn around and just light him up. And once you do that, it becomes pretty easy. The final boss in Halo Infinite, the Harbinger. The Harbinger is part of an alien race called the Endless, which was introduced in Halo Infinite. They were imprisoned by the Forerunners for an endless amount of time. Get it? Get it? Get it? They were discovered by Atriox in the year 2560, and he basically awakened them. The last mission of Halo Infinite felt like I was just getting into the meat of the game. It didn't feel like it was the end. It felt like I was just getting the ball rolling. The story was just starting to get a consistent pace going, and we barely knew who the Endless were, so I don't know why we're fighting the Harbinger, the first game they're introduced in. When it comes to the boss fight, on the scale of difficulty, it's maybe in the middle to hard side. All types of enemies start flooding the arena, so you just gotta defend yourself from all of them, and then once you do that, the Harbinger will stop the energy force field and then it'll reveal herself, so you're able to shoot her. But you just gotta watch out because she'll teleport around and surprise you, so you always just gotta keep running. You just have to repeat the process of killing all the enemies in the room, waiting for the force field to go down, shooting the Harbinger until she's dead. So there you have it. There's every single boss in every mainline Halo game. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite boss fight and your least favorite in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.